Good evening. We're going to call the Transportation Committee meeting August 12th to order. Mr. Randy Kluwart is going to lead us in prayer, followed by the pledge.
Would y'all please rise? Dear Lord, on this evening when we're making decisions that involve the lives of the people of the residents of Ascension Parish, please give us the wisdom. Please open our hearts and open our minds to listen to all. Let us try to go forward and make the changes, no matter how hard they are, no matter how long it takes. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, let it be known that Mr. Benny Johnson and Mr. Dempsey Lambert are absent for work-related issues. We do have a public comment period. Anyone wanting to speak on the agenda item, please sign in. You have 3 minutes to speak. Sign in up front, and we'll get it to the Secretary. I'm going to go ahead and move the Roddy Road report up in place on number 4. So, Mr. Bob, we're going to start off with it. I think we have some people that want to speak on this issue. So, Secretary, if you can give me the list, I will let them talk, Mr. Bob, first, and then you can tell me what you have planned. First one on it is Chanel Lejeune.
My name is Chanel Lejeune, and I am a resident of Ascension Parish. I would first like for the panel up there to review this picture. That picture is a picture of my niece, Ascension Ford, who was killed June 21st of this year on Roddy Road. I am here today because of her. I would like to make a comment. I'm originally from New Orleans. My family travels up here to visit with my parents. A sister of mine made a comment about a year ago. She said, Chanel, your roads, they're full of crosses. And I told Donna, yeah, your problem in New Orleans is crime. Our killers are our highways. I don't know if anyone realizes our roads look like cemeteries with all the crosses. That's not including for people who do not have a cross that have lost their life. You don't have to be driving to have an accident. My mother slipped on a road, a parish road, down a 4-foot ditch and broke her leg seriously. She has a handicapped child that she has to take care of. My mother had surgery. She is left with chronic pain, and it's not good. These ditches are dug deeper and deeper to fix a drainage problem that still is not corrected. Digging the ditches deeper is not fixing our drainage problem. It's creating more problems on our highways. I have all my notes written down, and I don't even think I even looked at them because I really think, you know, you need to start taking people's opinions seriously. Roddy Road, yeah, this is a real good one, because that is our main road that many vehicles use, not just cars, trucks, dump trucks, school buses. What are you going to do if a school bus slips down one of these darn ditches that are 4 to 5 feet deep? You're going to have more than one person killed. You're going to have a bunch. Last comment. We all have to go home tonight. Remember, it could be our cross next on the road. Please be careful.
Thank you, Chanel. Next speaker would be Miss Shanna P.T.
Hi, my name is Shanna P.T. I'm one of the many good friends of Ascension Ford. I am here today to plead with you that something be done with Roddy Road right now, just like everyone else back here sitting in their seats. I would like to bring to all of your attention that this is not a situation where you can all sit around and say, let us discuss whether this is worth our money or if we have enough money to do it. This is a life or death situation. Or should I say lives or deaths situation, since we have already established that the amount of traffic on Roddy Road is especially great. I understand that your conflict is the money, but we all know that money is being spent elsewhere, and in my own opinion, in less important places. So what you are all telling us today, if Roddy Road is not fixed, is that you cannot bend your budget to the slightest amount to save one life or numerous amount of lives. Isn't one single life worth that amount of effort? I know Ashton's was. The reason we are all here today is from a guarantee from all of you that all of our lives will be safer. Not just for us, but for any other group of friends and family that may be put through this kind of pain because of Roddy Road. I would not wish that upon anybody. That's why I'm standing up here today talking to you all. If you're not going to fix Roddy Road, go ahead, be straight with us. Stop giving us a runaround about estimates and budget cost. And tell us, we're sorry for your loss, but we're not going to do anything for your cause. Go ahead and do that. And then you all try to live your lives knowing that one day you may have to look a mother in the eyes and tell her that her child is no longer here because we didn't have enough money. Try to look a brother in the eyes and tell him that his baby sister was lost because we didn't get the estimates back in time. Try to look a group of best friends who need their friend beyond all reasoning in the eyes and tell them that their best friend will not get to finish the rest of their extremely short life because we were ignorant to the demands of the last group of people this happened to. You try to live your life knowing that one day you may have to do one of those things. Do y'all have the courage to look into another set of hopeless eyes and know that you could have done something about the huge hole that is in their heart right now and will affect them for the rest of their life? Do you have enough courage to do that? If you don't fix Roddy Road right now, be prepared to do so, because it will happen.
Thank you, Shannon. We'll move on to Marion Lejeune.
Hello, I'm Marion Lejeune. The minutes of last meeting, July the 8th, 2008, quoted, there were discussions about the status of Roddy Road and the plans for construction improvement contained in the road widening project. The committee offered to look at what area the accident of Ascension 4 occurred for possible improvements. End of quote. Did the committee look at that area? Did you? You looked into the area?
Yes, ma'am. I pass it 4 times a day.
You looked?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. Also in the minutes, Director Bob Turner will have the department investigate the area for possible improvements. Mr. Turner, did you look at the area?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And who's paying for all these investigations? all those looking into?
I'm the Director of Public Works. I'm on salary with the parish. It's the cost of my looking at it is currently paid for by the parish.
Mr. Martinez, in the Advocate Metro, Saturday the 12th, 2008, you were asked what could be done to improve this road, Roddy Road. And you answered, quote, "We can certainly take a look at it and get a cost estimate on culverts. It's a matter of finances. We have never had the money to do what we should. It's a tough situation." That's the truth. Still, I understand how the relatives feel, and I feel sorry for these people. End of quote. Mr. Martinez, I pray you never have to know how it feels, especially because Ascension died on a road with deep ditches, and that should not have happened. And no shoulders also. In 1992, a 1/2 cent, was it 92 or 94? That 1/2 cent tax was passed with 3/4 for the roads and 1/4 for fire protection?
I think that was 94.
94? Where is the money?
It's been utilized strictly on roads in the parish throughout the...
And how is it being used?
It's being used to overlay roads and in some cases to widen roads. We just finished Joseph Ario. We got about 100 roads under construction now to actually widen some on Boudreaux Road, West Boudreaux Road, and several roads throughout the parish that are going to be overlaid.
Okay, so we're still collecting that money since 94?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should have a lot in the bank.
I would think that after this year, you're going to probably have about possibly $1.5 million.
Left?
That's
The
it.
end of this year? In the Advocate Friday, the 1st, 2008, front page, Louisiana, second worst highway deaths. On Roddy Road from Airline to Joseph Ario Road, there are 2 schools, Central and Galvez, 1 Catholic church, and I didn't count the others, but 11 subdivisions. Yes, 11. Not counting all the side streets that have subdivision, and the other homes, and the Galvez roads on number 93, they're having a 500+ subdivision in progress. Is that true?
I hadn't went out and counted them, but if you
That's
done
all.
research, I will take your word for it.
Okay. The majority are all going down Roddy Road. How long before the road will be fixed from Joseph Ario Road, the beautiful highway, down Roddy to Airline?
You asking?
Yeah. How long will it be before it reaches Airline?
It's always been the #1 priority with the parish. The estimated cost to do it is about $13 million to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The section where it stops at Joseph Ario now, from the Galvez Middle School to 931 is actually a state road.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it is the parish road. There's going to be some improvements done. There's some bridges that are being changed between 931 and Black Bayou.
Okay.
And there'll be some road work done in that section too. That was a project that was started
When?
years ago, but it is making progress. So we are working on the goal to work Roddy Road. We long had it as the #1 priority in the parish, and it is a matter of funding. We're doing it in phases. We don't have $13 million that we can come in and do the entire project with, but it's been phased over the years, and work's been done on it. So, in fact, we're talking to the state about maybe swapping their part to make it all parish all the way across, because the state doesn't have any plans to widen that part either. So it would be fruitless for us to widen from 42 coming this way and then have in between have a narrow road. So.
So it does take a very long time.
If you went to the Department of Transportation now, on 42, as I said, we have been working on that probably since 1992. But on a general project from start to finish, when you go in, if the money is available with DOTD, from start to finish is 8 years. for a project that actually.
8. I thought it was 10. It's 8?
8.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why you tell me the improvements started from, why didn't you start from Airline to Joseph Area Road? Because why?
I don't know, ma'am. I wasn't here when those projects were put on the books.
Good, thank you. Another question, why is George Rouillet Road, is that a parish or a state? Parish. It's next to Roddy. They have yellow center lines and white side lines. Some parts of the road is narrower, but still beautiful with shoulders. This road has no subdivision, no schools, and no church, and no fire department. And it's not a state road, right? On today's Advocate, Tuesday, August the 12th, 2008, Roddy Road poses danger. Roddy Road, which has been the scene of many traffic accidents. This road is the top priority among parish roads for improvements in the view of Bob Turner. Roads are #1 problem. In the last 5 years, 260 wrecks on Roddy Road. That's counting the side roads. That comes from the sheriff's office. The family wants the narrow, shoulderless road made safer. Yes, I am knocking and begging to make this road safer. There are over 6,200 vehicles, but now that school is started, there is much more. From the Parish of Ascension, Department of Public Works, I received a letter with an option C for White Stripe Road, from Weber City Road to Airline, where Ashton was killed. It's 1,400 feet. It would cost $3,500 to put white lines on it. And very possible to do in a reasonable amount of time. Only concern is the narrowing of the pavement road from 20 feet to 19.5 feet. And this could cause large vehicles, that's 6 inches, to slap mirrors due to narrow lane. Well, widen the road, or the vehicle will fall in the ditch. And who's going to be to blame? Also in that paper from Department option B, finally fix the road 10 to 12 months. Correct open ditches problems and resurface and widen pavements and an added $75,000 for a consultant, our engineer giving expert advice. $75,000. Can I call you, Mr. Turner, in 2 weeks?
That $75,000 is to design that improvement, not to give advice. It's to actually would be the cost to design it.
From Airline to?
Design?
To design. To
Weber City?
Yes, ma'am.
$75,000 to design. What you call design?
Well, complete construction plans, ready to bid and go out for construction. The contractor doesn't know what to build until it's surveyed, designed, and completed the estimated cost. Then you bid the project and the contractor builds it.
So that would take me around 10 to 12 months?
Oh, to do the whole thing, yes, ma'am.
Well, when can you start?
I have no authorization to start.
Who does that?
The council, parish president.
When can you start? When will you start?
The budget for next year will be doing that now. The only other way you can do it would be to amend the present budget. Make a presentation to the council and they would amend.
Who does that?
Public Works.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say amen. Thank you, and God bless y'all.
Thank you, Miss Mary. We got Mr. Doug Ford next.
Got a handout for all of y'all. It's not a $70,000 ticket on it or nothing, but it'll get us close to where we're at. I looked at the cost of the work that's got to be done, and I went out there and I walked down the roads both sides. Just about got killed doing it. And you got a lot of culverts that are out there already. The estimate calls for brand new culverts all the way down ×2, 442 feet, 30-foot culvert on the south side and 36-foot culvert on the north side. And the culverts you have in, I don't know if y'all would go, when y'all did this job, would you go dig up all the old culverts and put in brand new ones?
Yes.
Okay. And what would be the reason for that, for collapse and the deterioration? Would you determine if they're good enough to stay there or not?
Generally, they're not.
Well, from the airline, if you look on that diagram, you can see a lot of that stuff's up to code, and y'all reworked that intersection already, right?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Well, right now it's half of the streets covered with covers. If you want to put a temporary measure down there and cover the rest of it until you decide what you're going to do years from now, or you pull another shoulder up to the road out of existing land that you can have to build a shoulder. I mean, there's a couple of options you can do besides just putting a white line down it. And, you know, we're a big parish. We're in the heyday of our time right now, which is we got a lot of people coming in our parish and we got a lot of money generated. And I think this would be the best time to fix our big problems, you know, not wait till we don't have people moving in our parish and we don't have the budgets, because a lady at work told me she was going to move to Ascension Parish, but the road they lived on and was going to buy the house was too dangerous, and she didn't want any of her kids or her loved ones coming there getting killed on that road, and that's why she didn't buy in our parish. So it's kind of a snowball thing. If you don't fix the roads and you don't fix them right, and you can't come up with a penny when you have a disaster situation where people could stand up and say, okay, let's do this, let's amend this, let's find the money for this, because this is a major thoroughfare to one of our schools, we could fix it this time. That's what we're all hoping will happen. And I hope that, you know, unlike last time, because last time the first time we were here, and we're going to be here for a while, so, you know, we're not going nowhere until something happens, because that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, you got your reasons for not doing it. We got our reasons for being here to ask you to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Next speaker is Mr. Roy Latina.
Hello, I'm Roy Latino from Donaldsonville. I'm here about Latina Road. Even though I could understand their concerns about Roddy Road, I've traveled it a lot of times myself.
It's on a different item.
What Roddy Road has that Latina Road doesn't have is four-way stop sign to slow
Excuse me,
down.
Mr. Chairman. I believe he's talking about a different item, not Roddy Road.
We'll come up with your item in a later part of the agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Latina, thank you.
Told me to
Sorry.
say my name, that's all.
It wasn't stated on the sign-in which agenda item. Okay, Mr. Bob, that's all the speakers on this issue, and I know you have some discussion and
Yes,
projects hopefully on the making for us, so we can hear
Yes,
from
sir,
you.
I do. I have prepared a report, engineering report on this section of road, and a lot of the things that the speakers have spoke of, I agree. Mr. President Martinez has said that Roddy Road is the top priority with the parish. It has been for some time, and it still is. I certainly understand the difficulty of trying to determine where money should be spent. We have 650 miles of parish road in this in Ascension Parish. Quite frankly, I don't know of any of them that doesn't need some work. Some a lot more than others, and clearly Roddy is one of them that does. Most of our roads are relatively narrow for the volume of traffic that they have. Very few of them have reasonable shoulders, and this particular section is only 20 feet wide. It's fairly straight from 61 to Weber City. To make the improvement that we would all like to see there is in excess of well, it's about $1.5 million for that section for 1,400 feet. Roads like Joe Saverio, which is very desirable and also Boutreau Road. Those roads cost over $5 million a mile to construct, to acquire the right-of-way and construct. Those two roads were started in 2001. We're 2009, 2008 now. So they took us 7 years to buy the right-of-way and to actually build those. And quite truthfully, neither one of them are completed as yet. So it does take quite a period of time. We are currently working on Roddy Road in the vicinity of the school, and as the parish president told you, to replace the two bridges on Roddy Road and to move forward then on the road widening of that section of road. And I'd still recommend that we would continue that. The other item that I want to bring up is that the time element to do anything is really takes an inordinate amount of time. Historically, the parish has contracted almost all of its work out on design of roads. Just in this last year, thanks to the parish president and others, we actually have got design engineers on staff. Now, my background is a design engineer, and Jackie Bowman here beside me is an excellent design engineer. We're doing more in-house design projects. We would not tackle this type of a project in-house, so that requires a complete staff that we just do not have. Our staff is geared towards the maintenance type projects, and those are the resurfacing projects, the striping that you see on a number of other roads. With that, and when I looked at this, I looked at it in great detail, and I sent the report to a number of people, the newspaper had it. But essentially, my recommendation is that we apply the striping to the center line and to the edge stripe. I am concerned, as I expressed in my report, about the narrowness of the road and doing striping and reducing the lane widths. The reason for my concern is that when you get down to that type of lane width, 9.5 feet, you're only 6 inches wider than a normal parking stall. And so that is, in my mind, extremely narrow. The Department of Transportation did a very comprehensive study on adding white lines to pavement. And generally, they have said that cars move away from the white line somewhere. They move towards the center line. That's a concern that I have. But they also say that the white lines are a great help. And they recommend those for pavements 20 feet and wider. And so with that, I am supportive of adding the white lines, the edge stripes. I think it would be a great help. The other figures that I've got, it's a matter of evaluating which projects that you want to build. 650 miles of narrow road in the parish, and we're selecting a route that has a lot of traffic. We're working on it. The parish president told you that it's our estimate for doing the section that the parish owns now is in excess of $13 million. The other thing is that it would be 8 years. If we had $13 million today, it would still be 8 years before we would have that. So I'm looking for something faster than that, something that would add a little bit to it.
One question. You know, we're talking $1.5 million. Is that including a lot of right-of-way that we would have to get for that?
Yes, sir.
If we was to come in there and just put culverts in, don't we have the right-of-way where the ditches are now?
This
and
is...
I don't think we'd increase the size of the width of the road, but at least we'd have a shoulder where they would actually come off and they could come back on the road with no problem.
Yeah, that's the estimate that I made for placing culverts, which is $500,000.
Just to replace culverts?
Yes, sir. That is squeezing the culverts in primarily the existing ditch and maybe having some servitude. There's only 35 feet of right-of-way out there.
Total.
There's just not enough to build a decent road bed. I'm concerned that if we were to do the $500,000 project, that actually it might be wasted when we would come back and try to make the ultimate improvement, the $1.5 million project. The other thing I do want to tell you in the public, and it's not in any of my reports, is that we currently have the improvement of the intersection of 61 and Roddy Road under contract for design with GSA. They have recently submitted to the state for a permit for improvement of that intersection. That intersection will include a left turn lane, and as a result, there's right-of-way that needs to be acquired, and the width of the road is widened as you improve the for the left turn lane. That goes back about half the distance of to Weber City, about 700 feet or so. And so that's under contract. That is estimated to be in excess of $600,000 to do that work. But that is currently underway to move forward with.
So this will close several, like I say, about 700 feet of the ditches on
Yes,
that
sir.
side?
Yes, sir.
And I feel for these people, you know, if we put the culverts in the ditch, it could save another life. You know, we thinking maybe ahead, you know, that we're going to widen in that road. We know what kind of funds it takes to widen the road. We know that, and our funds are very slim right now after a couple widening projects we've done. We may look at putting the culverts because it may be a while before we get any wider with it, but at least we could have some shoulders on that road. So that's something I would like to see us maybe look at some more harder numbers. You know, I'm still thinking $500,000 is a lot, but I'm not, you know, I'm not doubting your quote there, but I don't know if you got it out from a contractor or what. You know?
No, sir. I based that on figures of recent bids that we had on projects that we've got under contract.
Okay.
And with the assistance of Jackie looking at it also, we conclude that that's in fact, Jackie tells me I'm a little low on the price of the culverts on it.
Okay. Mr. Law?
Talking about also coming in and asphalt.
Can I go up there?
Mm-hmm.
Wait up, sir.
Overlay.
Todd's talking about it.
I don't know who he is.
Just
That's a
putting
grandpa.
the culverts and the dirt in there.
Mr. Thurman.
No.
I'm Bob Lejeune. Mr. Thurman, you said they cost $5 million a mile.
No, yes, sir, for Joe Severio type
Well, I
road.
just took a ride today, and they had that big sign up there, and it said the road project in progress, $2,838, $522.58 they had on there, and they had Ronald Hughes, and they had all this councilmen. If you still have that sign out there, you better take it off. $2,838, $522, $522.58.
Where's that at?
Where did $5 million come from?
I would think it comes from
On Joe
surveying,
You have a survey?
right-of-way acquisition. That's not in there. That's
It's
just
just the road construction itself.
So the 4 mile costs $2 million, and all the rest is surveys and all.
right-of-way.
Right away,
Mr.
surveys,
Sanchez, hear
design.
that?
Mr. President?
The problems we're incurring on Westworthy and other roads is, and if you can go and check with anyone, right away it's actually costing now more than actual constructing the road. So if you got a $2 million, $2.5 million construction project on a road, the cost to construct plus the cost of right away. Perkins Road, they're widening it right now. When I worked for DOTD, I think the construction cost on it was like $15 million, and the total cost was $29 million. So it was $14 million to buy right-of-ways. I don't think anybody on this council or anybody in this administration is against looking at something and working to improve Roddy Road. As we said, it's been on the list as number one. We're starting and doing it in phases. I think with Mr. Bob, the $500,000 figure is, I just asked him this, it includes asphalting over and widening the road. I think what Todd was alluding to was basically putting culverts in and then coming in with dirt, and Lord knows we got enough dirt.
I think that's what
and
everybody was thinking.
putting in and putting grass on top of it. I think that's what we're looking for. You are looking for, and I don't know if we have an estimate on that. And from an engineering perspective, engineers don't want to do things that way because they want to fix it the right way. And I guess what you're asking about is a temporary fix. So again, I'm going to ask Mr. Bob, what are we looking at? Or I know that wouldn't be a recommendation from an engineer to do those things.
I have to tell you, I could not recommend that. But at the same token, the concern that I have is that whatever you do is not going to be of any standard. I couldn't assure you that you would end up with a road that was safer, and I don't know whether you can do it inside the existing right-of-way. But, I mean, you have the power to hire a consultant to do that.
Mr. Turner, can I ask about the striping? Because you were saying basically that it would be narrow, but overall you do still support moving forward with that. I mean, if we could all agree to move forward with that immediately, I mean, I think that's a short-term fix.
My husband did it in front of our house, and it cost him his time. The parish approved it. We did it on our own. He built their own boxes, and it didn't cost us hardly anything. If the parish is low on funds, do what the schools have to do. Have a penny drive, collect your cans, sell cookies. I'll buy them.
Mr. President. And I want to reiterate, of those miles, that 500 plus miles and all the state roads that we have in Ascension Parish, there's only two probably roads that would fit the standards. That would be Airline Highway and Interstate, and just a small section in the parish on 44 and 44 through the city limits of Gonzales. So all of our roads, I would say 99.9% are substandard. If you ride along, I mean, you can go down 431. I mean, 431 got deep ditches. It's not a wide road. It needs widening. We've looked at that. I can't think of any road in Ascension Parish that has proper shoulders and width. So we got a long way to go, and that's what we've been talking about. We're trying to put together a master plan. We're trying to generate funds to come up to where we can start some stuff, get some of these roads started immediately. We do have limited funds. As you said, the half-cent sales tax that we do receive, we give 1/3 of that to the fire department. So it basically it's about $4 million. The $15 million that was borrowed in 2001, I mean, we have debt service on that comes from that. So basically, if we did and just went and overlaid all our roads, and Mr. Bob can correct me on this, it would take, with the money that we are generating now, it would take 57 years to go back and overlay those roads. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir. So, again, we need to widen roads in Ascension Parish. It's unacceptable to where we are today. I mean, I will sit here and totally agree with every speaker that got up tonight. I mean, and I know you don't want to hear it, we don't have funds. And we don't have funds. I mean, you are welcome to look at our books and look where our money's going. We're doing the best with what we have. I mean, we still have to maintain the rules that we do have. I want to help and do anything we need to do on Roddy Road. I think with the intersection improvement. And again, I still want to look at the possibility of putting the culverts in and putting the dirt in the grass. I mean, if we can get something to that effect, satisfy this to this situation, I don't have a problem. And I'm not trying to go against my public works director or my engineering friends. I mean, I worked with them for 8 years. Doug is an engineer. He understands the technicalities, and if
you know, the mentality of trying to, you're going to do it right, and that's a good philosophy. And engineers, that's the way they work. They want to be meticulous. But again, if we'll look at that.
Can I say one thing? I understand what you're talking about. I mean, I want it right. I don't want it to hurt nobody else.
Right.
But I got in my car on the way over here. It's 0.2 of a mile, that whole road, on my speedometer. And it's 0.6 of a mile from where I'm standing right now. So it's not like it's way out in the corner of the parish. I know you understand, but I'm just telling you how critical it is. It's 0.2 of a mile, and it's 0.6 from the heart of where you work. It shouldn't be like that. Not a road that kind of way.
I guess my passion for 42 is because I buried 3 children on 42 that were classmates of my kids when they were their centuries, and I still work with that family to get that road right. And we're still not there, but again, I understand your passion, and I will work with you, and I think these guys are going to work with you.
Well, I've seen in the news, I've seen something in the air, and I think it's everybody's realizing that, you know, it don't do no good to build a park if you're going to die on the road getting there. You know, let's put our priorities where they got to be. Let's put our heads together and work together, and you know, we can make a difference. And it don't have to be, you know, it's not that it's overnight, but I mean, we want to see something happen. You know, everybody wants to see their tax money do something, and to this day, I couldn't tell you where a penny of my tax money ever went. But I'm going to start looking.
You ever want to come?
I mean,
sit down.
Okay. Mr. Clorite?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and unfortunately, Doug and Carrie, we had to cry in the middle of the night and bury somebody off Stringer Bridge Road, which is a pretty good road, but it had a canal inside of it, and that accident happened. So, you know, a lot of us have been there more than we should have been. I just want to touch on, it's a very enlightening experience for everybody to find out what goes into building these roads. Everybody thinks it's road construction. Please check with any engineering firm. If you know somebody with an engineering firm that's in road construction, if you got a friend, a relative, it's very disheartening to see what we pay for right-of-way. Any of you that's bought a lot of land, place where you built your house, anything, you appreciate your land. You think it's very valuable. It's yours. It's what you got. It's hard to go out and try to get folks to give up land, give up right-of-way, because when we go towards federal monies to back us on some of these roads, state money, DOTD, do cost risk analysis, we have standards, what Mr. Bob says. We're looking for a certain width, try to get some right-of-way to where, even if we don't build you a great road right now, we got the ability to build you a great road later. And I mean, you know, I'm kind of new in this, but looking at it, some of the biggest complaints I've heard over the most narrow roads, and I've asked the people, hey, look, you know, we just got to get right-of-way, and then we can put it in a plan to widen it. And you know, one guy might want this much for his land. The next lot over, he wants a different price for his land. You know, so it's a big bargaining deal. I would appreciate anything that you guys could do to help us if you do live on a substandard road. I believe in what you're doing here. I'm sorry for the reason you're here, but I believe in what you're doing. And you know, if we all share an Ascension, let's work towards doing our share. And I'll tell you what, like Ms. Martinez said, is we can show you where all the pennies go, all the 8.5 cents. And one thing that you can do is take a look at road money spent every year when you get a project in front of you. The end result is recommendations coming from the administration on what they think can be done on the next set of roads through the next road project. But that will go in front of your council member, okay? All right? Whether it be me or somebody else. And sometimes just overlaying somebody's road is probably not the best money spent. Maybe somebody can ride over a pothole for a little while longer. We take that, instead of spending a couple $1 million on overlaying a road, we spend it on trying to get a road widened and get it up to some type of standard. and some type of participation within the community for giving us those avenues and giving us some right-of-way and working with us on a square deal on settling that. I know in the past that we've had roads that were held up for one guy didn't want to give right-of-way, or 2 people, or 3 people, or one block of land. It's a shame to sit here and tell you that the construction between 40-45%, somewhere around there, goes to land acquisition, and within land acquisition you've got to hire somebody to do all that. That's not an in-house project. It's a much more complicated task than it really should be. And I'm sure sometimes, as whenever I was on your side of the podium, it looks like something is just not getting done, okay? But please, keep your community aware. Like I said, I'm sorry for the reason you're here, but I appreciate you being here, because that's what makes our parish great. We have communities. We've got people that care. And I think that we can get something done here. I don't want anything substandard done, but I'm kind of leaning towards the same way. Get something to get rid of the dangerous ditch. I live in Santamon, so I got several roads with some pretty bad ditches, some narrow roads and stuff like that. We have a great deal of those around the parish. This road happens to be a road that people think it's a thoroughfare from the airline or from Highway 30 all the way through Galvez. And not like it's a dead end where somebody can't achieve much speed or the slow traffic or even less traffic running down it. So just investigate, and you'll see how much it costs to build a road. And
if you want to keep the community involved, and does it have to be a tax salary raise? Her friends and people who work close with her do have things like she was talking about, like fundraisers and that kind of thing. Would we be guaranteed our money, if we contribute our money and everyone else, would that go to Roddy Road? Could we as a community, does it have to be a tax dollar raise? Or could we have fundraisers and that type of deal and the money?
Ma'am, I can only speak for myself, and I would appreciate you raising funds to help people that need it. I think within our parish, it's a matter of us making a decision to put the money to where it's most where it can be used better. And
well, are you going to do it? Put the money toward that?
I can't guarantee that. I'll let the chairman have it.
What would have to say?
So I'd like to...
the road's substandard. Am I to sue to be able to get the money back to you? Fix that road? Is that what it's going to take?
I don't think so.
Well, nothing's getting done. Just give us this runaround. Money there, money there. If I get the money to you, can you fix the road?
And I'm almost sure that's going to have to be a legal issue, huh, Mr. President, as far as private funds.
I don't think it's a law against donating to the parish.
To a parish
specifying
fund,
for a special road.
If you want to dedicate it for a certain area, we could check with legal to make sure, but I don't see an issue with it.
There's no issue. I don't think so.
I'd like to make a motion that we proceed ahead on the striping, and also that Mr. Turner comes back with an estimate on the culverts with the ditch filled in.
Okay.
And even if it's not up to engineering grades, the motion is for the striping and also a quote basically to come back to us, and we can decide on if that's a short-term fix. I mean, I think the council, I think the committee, the administration, we have clearly stated that this is our biggest parish road issue, and we are going to fund this in some manner. I mean, but let's figure out what our best short-term and long-term strategy is.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I have a second by Mr. Kluwat. Probably also need to add on that, maybe at the next meeting, bring back what this road project, the intersection improvement, exactly what design that looks like, so we have an idea where we're looking at on it. Got any objections?
I don't have a problem.
So move on the motion, Mr. President. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to number 4, which is road project status update report. Mr. Bob Turner.
Yes, you have in your packet a listing of project status on various projects. Westworthy Road Bridge, the construction began on that project on June the 9th. It's approximately 90% complete. We have to put some remaining guardrail, and we should be able to get that road back open. It's set for substantial completion in early September. On the Roddy Road Bridge replacement project, right-of-way acquisition is currently underway. The estimated completion for right-of-way acquisition is in November. The Meyer Bridge Road replacement, we've advertised, or we're in the process of advertising for that structure. We expect to have that structure installed prior to the end of the year. The 2004 intersection improvement programs that's contracted to GSA, they're currently getting permits have been submitted to the state for US 61 at 929, for Highway 44 at Causey and Merritt Evans, and at Highway 621 and US 61. Waiting on the comments. The intersection of 934 and Highway 44 is on hold because that intersection has met the standards for a safety project by the state. So we're waiting because we feel like the state will fund that project. On Joe Severio, we're in the final stages of that project. It's 95% complete, and it's moving forward. The intersection of 932 and 933, this is the Joe Severio Parker Road intersection. It's going to have a traffic signal at that location. The DOTD has submitted comments back. We're in the process of revising the plans for that comments. The Department of Transportation has required that we come up with a transfer agreement in order to transfer the right-of-way that's necessary for that project to the state in order to sign a permit. We're trying to work our way through that so that we can get a reasonable system of moving forward on that. On the 2007 road reconstruction in-house program, we held a bid opening on June the 15th. That item is on tonight's agenda. You'll be discussing it. On 2007 road construction RCO1, it's approximately 65% complete, and it's set for completion in September, mid-September. The 2007 road reconstruction project 02, it's approximately 30% complete, and it's set for October 1 of 08 for completion. The 2007 intersection widening projects, phase 1, we opened bids on that. That's on tonight's agenda. DOTD applications have been submitted for other intersections. Swamp at Perkins, 931 at 44, Henry Road at 73, Seabrook Road at Bluff, and we're waiting on the comments from the department. 931 and 44 is on hold because that's another intersection that the state says qualifies for safety funds. So we're anticipating that the state will make those improvements. Highway 429 at 431. The right turn lane is being handled as a separate project in conjunction with the state's project at that location. We're moving forward on that one. Loosemore and Highway 44 is being coordinated with the state to actually determine what the design requirements for that intersection would be. And we'll bring that back to you when that occurs. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have on the project.
Mr. Orr. Mr. Turner, you mentioned 931 and 44 is on hold because luckily, hopefully, be qualifying for state money.
That's correct.
Kind of, with the school opening up and everything right there, I mean, what kind of time frame are we thinking?
Well, all of these intersections are fairly complex projects. They all require additional right-of-way in most cases. So I'm hesitant to tell you what it would take. One of the reasons that we run into difficulties is that the time that it takes for the state to come back with the approved analysis of our plans and approval and a permit has gotten longer and longer all the time. It's several months just on that item alone. So, and once we get that, then we can proceed with acquisition of right-of-way. And normally acquisition of right-of-way takes several months just for one or two cases. So I'm really hesitant about telling you, other than the fact that these are complicated projects. They're not easy projects. The projects that we had on the 2007 in-house project, the one GSA did and the one that PEC, I don't know why I get stuck on that, PEC. Those did not require any right-of-way. We kicked those out, the contractors went to work, and they're nearing completion. But anytime you involve right-of-way, anytime you involve the state DOT, it's going to increase the time significantly.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Clewart.
Yeah, Mr. Bob, on Highway 429 at 431, the right turn lanes is being handled as a separate project in conjunction with the DOTD left lanes.
That's correct. They currently have proposed left turn lanes for 431, and it's currently under contract with F.J. Sullivan with the state. We're trying to get our project in coordinated with them so that we tear up the intersection only one time. And we're hoping actually to the state is going to bid that, do what they call a letter bid, and they're going to bid that project, and we're actually got our fingers crossed that we might end up with the same contractor that they have.
And do you anticipate any time frame on that?
Yeah, they're out there working right now, so my feeling is that if everything goes good, we could, in the next couple of months, we could see that improvement made.
Thank you, sir.
More questions for Mr. Bob? We'll go ahead and move on to number 5, Road Department monthly reports. Mr. Bob, before you start, I'm going to let Mr. Roy Latino, I think he's wanting to speak on a road project that we don't have on the agenda, or is he on the agenda?
He would like to speak on item number 15.
I'm going to go ahead and move it up.
Yes, sir.
And move it up and let him speak on that. Mr. Roy?
Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Yes.
After hearing these people complain about Ryder Road, my problem look real small.
Yeah.
It is small right now, but it's going to get bigger if we don't do something about it. We have a lot of through traffic through Latina Road ever since we opened the back up. There's people that live what we call back of town, people live back of Prevost, and they're all using it for a shortcut. And it's a straight shot. And they're running, they check the speed average at 41 miles an hour, average. We're seeing some going faster. And those houses on Latina Road are just about 20 feet off the road. I got grandkids that live on the road. And, we're getting scared every day. Somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's going to get killed, and we're going to have a real problem. We need to do something now. We're supposed to be getting a speed bump, but I'm hearing now it was canceled. So, we need that. Or I had another suggestion. The 40-foot right-of-way was given up by the Latina family to the parish for this road. And they opened it up all the way to St. Patrick Street. I'd like to see that close again and put a U-turn back there and just keep it local traffic. We would need a speed bump. That would help us out a lot if we can get that done. But if a speed bump is all we can get, we'll take what we can get. But we'd like to have that if we could.
Mr. Bob.
This particular item that we're discussing is essentially the criteria for determining the location of speed cushions. Latino Drive absolutely has the speed that is in our criteria. We're essentially looking for anything that's approaching 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. This is well beyond that. The fact that it's a cut-through type road meets that criteria also. The one criteria that does not meet it is that we'd set a limit of 500 vehicles per day as the low limit for installation. You almost got to have some criteria that you set. Otherwise, you'll go both ways to extremes. And the proposal basically submitted by both Councilman Schexnayder and Councilman Joseph, is that we would lower on the west bank to 300 vehicles a day, which would make Latino Drive qualify. I'm reluctant to ask you to do that. That's getting pretty low. On you're almost at the point now. Latino's a little bit different, but where in some cases you get your volume so low that you just need to go knock on the door of the neighbor that's speeding and tell him to quit. But in this case, you don't know your neighbors because these are vehicles that are cut through, if you will.
Exactly.
So I guess, Bob, in some cases, we may have to look at the individual situation and maybe yield to some of our criteria a little bit, depending on some situations.
Yes, sir. I think we want to be careful because you'll get Jackie and me in trouble.
We don't want to do that.
Because it'll be our decision as to whether or not this is the appropriate location. Now, in talking with President Martinez, he feels like this location would be an exception. And I would certainly support that as the exception. I would really recommend that we not lower the criteria, but since this one is a special case, high speeds, it could be an exception if the committee and the council chose to do so.
Mr. Kluwat.
Yeah, Mr. Bob, on Latino Drive there. Mr. Latino spoke of possibly blocking off one end and making a U-turn. I mean, is that feasible?
Sure, it's feasible. And he was right. At one time, it was cut off, and it was connected in order to increase circulation. And as a engineer, I can tell you that we suffer in this parish by not having good circulation between subdivisions. To visit your neighbor in a lot of subdivisions, you go out onto the state road, you wait to get out in the midst of traffic, and you go a quarter of a mile and you turn into your neighbor behind your house because that's the only way you can get over there. And if there were a lot more connectivity between subdivisions, you wouldn't have this congregation or this congestion of traffic on the state road. And that's the reason I think the connection was made, and one of the reasons that I would support the continuation of that. However, I think if you were to approve as a special case a speed cushion for this location, we can pull those speeds down.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a formal motion that we make the Latino Road an exception and send it to the full council for recommendations.
But the road wasn't open for that purpose, as you said. It was open at the time. It was open. The traffic was hardly nothing. But this is like 8-10 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot more people have moved in. A lot more people are using it.
Yeah.
That's why.
There's 4 other outlets too.
There's 4 other outlets, and not just our road. There's 4 other streets that they can use, and also there's school buses that are just passing on there, not even picking up a child. They're using it for a shortcut too.
Shortcut through.
Big buses,
Okay, I got a motion on the floor for exception for speed humps on this particular road, Latino Drive. Here a second.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Any objections?
If that don't work, I can come back to close it off.
We're going to bring it to the full council. It'll be the next step, Mr. Latino.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
See us.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bob, we can go ahead and move on with the Road Department monthly report.
Yes. You have in your packet a fairly comprehensive list of work orders that were completed in July. The first 4 pages are work orders of particular items that we've done. There were over 116 work orders that were completed. In addition to that, we dug over 5 miles of ditches and cleaned out 3/4 of a mile of culverts. In addition to that, we're on our 3rd rotation of mowing on weed control. In addition, we mowed 86 miles of parish roads, 64 miles of state roads, and we sprayed 162 miles of parish roads and 41 miles of state roads for this last month. It's kind of a report as to our maintenance type operations. Be glad to answer any questions.
Mr. Bob? Mr. Bob, before we move on, while we're talking about the speed cushions, there's a couple of roads I want you to look at down the road. Harry Savoy Road in Santa Monica, where we have 1 hour parks.
Okay.
And, constituent gave me a call, actually sent me a letter that I got a little late. And Prince Road in Santa Monica. There's 2 roads that I want to see if any one of them qualify for the speeding.
Okay.
I got a copy of the letter that
okay, I'd like a copy of that if I could. One of the things I do want to tell you is that we had installed these speed humps or speed cushions as a part of a grant that we have. And we had committed, what, 20,000 or 20?
The grant did 20 and we did another like 8,000.
Oh, okay. But it's part of the grant. The grant covered about $8,000 worth of speed hump. So when we go beyond this, we're going to be in our
general fund,
our budget. So I just want you to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to comment is basically both of those roads have done the same thing as Latino Road. They're good little roads and have turned into, because of major congestion over the past 20 years, have turned in a road that somebody can detour and go through.
Yeah.
And both of those are small, and both of those have houses right on the road in certain areas.
Yeah.
So just do your study and
parish-wide.
Yeah.
I certainly understand that situation.
Okay, we're going to move on now to number 6, task order contracts with the following, presented by Mr. Bob Turner. On A is Alvin Fairburn and Associates, Architects, Surveying and Engineering Firm.
Yes, we recommend that be added to the task order list. This does not give them a contract to work for the parish. It merely puts them on the task order list that they have the potential of being selected for projects.
Okay. Got that on the floor. Do I hear a motion? Got a motion by Mr. Randy Cluett.
Second.
Second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Any objections? So move. We'll move on to B, which is a Domain Design Architect, APC Architectural Firm.
Again, this is a firm that we would like to see. It's a Ascension Parish firm that we would like to see added to the task order list. Again, this does not give them a contract to do any work for the parish. However, it puts them on a list, making them eligible for consideration.
I'd like to make that motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Chris Lohr. Second by Mr. Randy Cluett. Any objections? So move. We'll move on now to number 7, which is approval of low bid from R.J. Daigle in amount of $2,752,021.76 for the 2007-01 in-house road project. Mr. Bob Turner.
Yes, I might point out that this was the project that Jackie had designed in-house, and she did it from the beginning all the way through the end. And we got, these are good bids. Our estimate was right at $3 million. This is slightly below that. We would definitely recommend approval of this and move forward to council.
Got a motion by Mr. Randy Cluett.
Second.
Second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Discussion. Mr. Cluett.
Yeah, Mr. Bob, without disclosing all the bids, I mean, it's basically, they look like they came in pretty good.
It did. We had 3 bidders on the project. R.J. Daigle and Sons were the low bidder. The other 2 bids were above our estimate. We were the second low bidder with our estimate. So, and one of the things that I need to tell you, and that we're watching very, very carefully, is the price of asphalt. It is going up.
That's where this discussion is going, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
It is really unpredictable. We were paying $85 a ton, 6 months ago or so, and now our latest bids are coming in $110, $120 a ton. So when the majority of your work is putting asphalt down on the street and the price of asphalt is almost doubling, you really get concerned. So we have some projects that we're concerned about. Fortunately, this project was within our estimate, and we definitely are pleased with that.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I want to warn against, and of course you guys know, but based on the accelerated price of crude oil from January to May, And with asphalt being 95% of the materials used for the construction of that road, material costs, I would hope that all the bidders do their due diligence to put in what they really think they can do that road for, that project for, is that, and because, when we let it out, we have one price.
That's correct.
That's what we want to pay, unless we got significant change orders that's justified.
Yeah. One of the things that, I'm feeling pretty good about is that at this time anyway, it seems like the price of oil is coming down. So hopefully now there is a certain amount in the pipeline that has to go through, but I'm not expecting increase in asphalt prices in the near future unless the price of oil starts back up again.
Yeah, I just definitely don't want anybody to be working for nothing. I want them to
one of the things,
good product, make good profit, and walk on. We all go on.
This is the only one. I do want to tell you that this particular project, we did put in a special provision that allowed for a fuel adjustment price, so that when you look at the price of asphalt and you say, gosh, it's $120 now a ton, what's it going to be when I actually put down the work 3, 4, 5 months from now? Will it be $150 a ton? Do I have to build that into my cost at this point? And what we're trying to do is to try to take that uncertainty out so that we don't get that $150 a ton asphalt price, because it just may go there. And so there is a special provision whereby we will pay an increase in fuel adjustment if it goes above a certain percent. We're fairly confident that if the price of oil does not continue to go up and peak, which it looks like it's going down, that there would actually be no fuel adjustment price on this contract. If it goes down enough, actually they would pay us back some money.
I would hope that you got your
I
I's
would hope so
dotted
too.
and your T's crossed in that, sir. Thank you.
I'll settle for breaking even.
Mr. Bob, just one quick question. I think I talked to Miss Jackie this week. Is this the Cannon Estate project? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Reason why I asked, that road, the school bus won't go on it anymore because of it's in deplorable shape. So.
Yeah.
I talked to Miss Jackie, and she said it was going to be on.
Yeah, these have been really good projects, the 2007 overlay projects. Now, again, we're not adding to capacity. We're not making safety, but we are improving the surface of the road, which is really necessary. Right. When, as President Martinez said earlier, the amount of money that we have generally annually, we're only going to be able to resurface these roads once every 57 years, and that, of course, is not acceptable, and that is just not at all a reasonable number. Once you go over about 12, 13, 14 years on a schedule of trying to rehab roads, and your road's gone, and that's probably what's happened in the road that you're talking about. It's just so long ago that it was worked on.
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
No, I was just going to say, is this the same one with John Savoy?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to number 8 now. Approval of the low bid.
Did they make a motion? Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Did you make a motion to approve that?
Well, thank you. I don't think we.
I'd like to move that we approve it.
We had a
R.J. Daigle.
We did have a motion by Mr. Kluwat, second by Mr. Lohr. Any objections?
Thank you. Item number 8 is also a project that we did. This is part of our turn lane project, so it was done by Volker and Associates, and it's 3 turn lanes. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a Duplessis? Okay, these are curve widening, 3 curve widening projects that we're trying to minimize the sharp curves. You recall what like Swamp Road looks like and what we did there. Well, that's what we're going to do on Duplessis, on Van Bussard, and McCrory.
McCrory and
Elwyn Dewey. 3 of them. It's not Van. Okay, okay. I apologize. Jackie knows
which one's
right down the line what this is, but Yeah, would you?
This project includes the 3 curves on Duplessis, the 3 sharp curves, 1 at Tiggy Duplessis, and then the 2 by the cemetery at the church. The 2 curves in Van Broussard, one kind of comes at an intersection with McCrory.
Right.
And then the 3rd part of the project is Elwyn Dewey by the school on 431, widening that entire stretch for the school buses.
Good deal.
Great, I'll make that motion.
We got a motion by Mr. Chris Lohr.
Before you actually take a vote, I do need to tell you something, is that this project is about 20% above what we expected. We did get 2 bidders. The bidders were competitive. We went and looked at every bid item. We cannot see any particular bid item that seems out of the ordinary, but it is above our estimate by about 20%. So it's still our recommendation that we proceed with this.
I still have a motion by Mr. Lohr, second by Mr. Kluwat. Any objections? So moved. Move on to number 9.
Number 9 is the kind of the next phase of this. This is the intersection that we were talking about at 431 and 429. We estimate that this intersection project will be about $100,000. We're asking for approval of plans and authorization to go to bids.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Randy Kluwat. Second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Any discussion? Any objections? So move. Move on to number 10 there, Mr. Bob.
Item number 10 is a task order that we're asking you to approve with LA Testing. This is for the testing, field testing on the 2007 in-house project that you just approved. The amount of the testing is $26,435.20. We'd recommend approval.
I'll make that
motion by Mr. Randy Kluwat. Second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Any objection? So move. We'll move on to number 13 now, Mr. Bob. Request for a stop sign at Longwood and Fieldwood intersection in Longwood subdivision. That's Mr. Pat Bell.
I think you skipped number 11.
One? Okay, my bad. Speed and traffic count on Swamp Road report, Mr. Bob.
Swamp Road's kind of strange. There's a series of curves and sharp curves and railroad crossings. But one thing it does, and I think Mr. Billy Arsenault talked about this at one of the last meetings, and we did traffic counts and speed studies on that road. And I have to tell you, it surprised me because I always felt like that you drove slowly through that through there because of the sharp curves. However, it has fairly lengthy straight stretches on each end. Between 61, the first curve is quite long, and when you go over to Perkins and to the first curve on that side, it's quite long. We put our speed counters at that location, and 85%, the 85th percentile speed, 85% of the people are driving this speed or slower, and that speed is 44 miles an hour. The speed limit is 25. So they're almost going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, and that's the vast majority. That's really where you use the 85th percentile to set the speed. And of the vehicles that are going over the speed limit, there's out of 3,980 vehicles that went over the detectors, 3,825 of them were over the speed limit. So it is a serious problem, and that occurs on both ends of both ends. And based on that, it's my recommendation that we raise the speed limit on the ends, just the ends, from 25 to 35. The mean average speed is 37 miles an hour. So a 35 mile an hour speed limit for that particular area would be correspond with that, and hopefully it'll pull some of those speeds down, but it will also recognize that people are going to drive faster. We would move the 25 mile an hour speed signs up away just in front, about 200 feet in front of the curves. When you come off of Airline, you'll see the 35, and then you'll see it go 25 about 200 feet from the curb. we would recommend that we
In
do
the
that.
same way on the other end, or?
Same way on the other end.
I'll make that motion. That makes sense to me.
Got a motion by Mr. Chris Lohr, second by
Second.
Mr. Randy Kluwat. Any discussion? Any objections? So move. Wow. Now we'll move on to number 13, Mr. Bob.
This is a request for a stop sign at Longwood and Fieldwood intersection in the Longwood subdivision. This was brought to us by Councilman Pat Bell. He's in support of this. We're not in any objection to it.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Kluwat.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lohr. Any discussion? Objections? So moved.
In Lemonville on the west bank, where we're doing the sewer project, there's a short street that nobody is currently addressed off of. It's just a connection street. It's relatively short, but it has the name of Robbery Lane. And the residents in the area feel like that's detrimental to the character of their neighborhood, and they've asked us to change that. And
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Kluwat. Second
we'd
by
like
Mr.
to see it
Chris
changed
Lohr.
to Green Crossing.
Thank you, sir.
Discussion? Any objections? So moved. Move on to number 16, discussion of Cannon Road being considered for a one-way street. Mr. Bob Turner.
Clearly,
now this is Cannon Road from Roddy Road to 44.
Right,
just to
we're
make
talking
everybody clear
about
on
the very narrow street on Cannon Road from Roddy Road west to 44. That street is only 16 feet wide. When we were talking about Roddy Road, how narrow it was, and I was nervous about that, that was 20 feet wide. This street is actually 4 feet narrower than what Roddy Road, 16 feet. We did measure one spot that was 15 feet 10 inches. So, and we got two-way traffic on that. That is, you can't meet a bus. I mean, if you meet a bus, somebody's got to pull into a driveway. It's that narrow, and it has about 2,000 vehicles a day. But there is one dead-end street that accesses comes onto it, and it's A.T. Quinn Road, short dead-end road that comes on. But we feel like that O'Neill Road would allow good access north and south and circulation to Bayou Northeast, and also Black Bayou Road. And by making those circles, we feel like that this would be a much safer road. If we did that, we could edge stripe on both sides of this with white edge stripe and proper signage at relatively low cost, and we could make this improvement. Now, if you're in agreement with that, we would notify all the residents and give them an opportunity to speak to council if they chose to do so in opposition.
We definitely want to do that, Mr. Bob. And I can give a little history of this part of the direction would be from Roddy Road west to 44, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
That would be that avenue. But just the history of this road, I think this road got brought up a couple of times for us trying to widen, and they had a big community meeting. I think it was a previous councilman that they tried to widen and wanted a certain amount of right-of-way, and there was a lot of opposition. You know, they had a lot of big oak trees in the way and stuff like that. And plus, we got apartments on the other end of the road. I don't know what we could do with them to get this road any wider. So I'd like to see, a census go out to the people and get a response from the people. So I'm in favor of, contacting all the people on Cannon Road to get their opinion on it. And like I said, it is open just for discussion right now, but we can move forward. Like I said, it'd be a quick fix, and I had a call this week. Guy was going to work and got run off the road and into the ditch. He didn't get hurt, but tore his vehicle up, and he didn't have any choice. He had to hit the ditch or hit the vehicle. So it's definitely a safety issue. I have family off of O'Neill that I go on Cannon pretty regularly, and it is tight, very tight.
I'll make the motion that we go forward with making the community aware for discussion on making it a one-way, making Cannon Road one-way from Roddy to Highway 44.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Kluwat, second by Mr. Chris Lohr. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick discussion. Mr. Bob, basically in the process, the folks will be able to come back?
What I would suggest is that we notify them and send them a little plan about exactly what we're proposing to do, and to allow them either to make comments to us or to come back. And my suggestion is that we come back to the Transportation Committee with a recommendation based on the input of the public.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds great. Any objections? So moved. And we're going to move on to number 17, roads to be accepted into the parish maintenance system.
Yeah, item number 17, these were streets that at the last meeting they had certain deficiencies, and those have been corrected. And so we now recommend that they be accepted into the parish system.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Chris Lohr, second by Mr. Randy Kluwart. We're going to accept Old Maplewood Drive, Maple Ridge Avenue, Creekside Drive, Crest Ridge Drive, Coldwater Landing Avenue, and Augustine Avenue. Any discussion, objections? So move. Move on to number 18, Mr. Bob.
Number 18 is, as you are aware, we're in the process of acquiring the right-of-way for the West Worthy project. It's ongoing. We're making some reasonable progress. This one item is that we need to discuss and ask for your approval on, is to purchase the property of the estate of John Williams and Claudine Williams, located at 39222 West Worthy Road, in the amount of $160,000 total. What that includes, if you'll look at the kind of the backup sheet, the appraised value of the property is $65,000 plus $2,500 administrative settlement, and in order to do this, plus payment for relocated housing payment and moving expenses to the $92,500. Mr. Joey Vaselli of SJB is under contract to acquire the right-of-way on this, and can explain this in a little more detail. But in essence, the house is the front porch is 5 feet from the right-of-way line, so the owner feels like it's there's a legal term that says that's too close, that's dangerous, and I want to be relocated. I want you to provide relocation assistance. In order to find a decent, safe, sanitary house, we have to offer relocation assistance. The methods that have been used in this project are consistent with the Department of Transportation's acquisition of right-of-way. It's also compatible with what had been done in the past on West Worthy Road. We had purchased a property in the past about 2 years ago under these same type circumstances. So we're consistent with that. And we're also consistent with the DOTD standards for acquisition of right-of-way. If you have some detailed questions, I'm sure Joey would be glad to come forward.
You want to come forward to the mic, Mr. Joey? I got one question. I guess you're saying it's 5 foot, the right-of-way from the home. How far is it actually from the highway, or from the, I guess, ditches where the highway is going to be? I know you got quite a bit of right-of-way there. That's what I'm...
The required right-of-way comes to 5 feet from the front porch.
Okay.
The steps take up 2 feet of the 5 feet, so you're actually stepping off the steps 3 feet to the...
In the right-of-way, but how far does the road start?
From the existing to required?
From the structure.
We got about 8 feet of property.
That's
going to be all used in the travel lanes, so you're going to have subsurface drainage. So the traffic flow will be within 7 feet of our house.
Okay, next question might be Mr. Bob. I don't know, maybe Joe. We've been working on this road project for quite some time, and right-of-way was supposed to be, while we're getting, the last few months we've been getting some new, buyouts and stuff like that. I'm just wondering why all this wasn't looked at up front when we
the original acquisition of right-of-way acquired less than half the number of properties. This is fairly complex. The complications of the titles of the property was such that these are not the easy parcels. The easy tracks were bought 2 years ago. These are the really tough ones, and so we're trying to wrap this up. It's I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that we went for a period of time and then the project stalled, and it waited until we restarted it and actively started after it. So, in fact, you're going to see the same thing on Roddy Road. When we get to Roddy Road, we apparently bought maybe 14 tracks, and we got 24 additionals yet to go. So SJB's under contract on that.
What section is that?
Roddy Road, around the bridges.
Around the
And,
bridges?
yeah, we've got eight tracks on the bridges that we've got to acquire, but for the road itself, between that section, I think there's 24, isn't there, Joey?
Yes, we have 24.
How many structures that you're looking at on that road?
On Rowdy Road, I don't think we'll have any improvements.
Okay.
The only improvements on Worthy, 2.5 years ago, you had a similar situation, 5 feet from the right-of-way, and the prior council spent, I think, $135,000 to relocate that person. We have to look at the values of the houses that we're taking. The first one 2 years ago was $58,000. This particular house is $69,000. So we actually spent, the parish did $82,000 2.5 years ago to relocate someone, versus what we're looking at here is about $95,000. But in the house that you're taking is worth more. Now, your problems occur in this relocation is that the appraisals, when they do the appraisals, they assess depreciation. Cost new of this particular house is $90,000, but it's 70% depreciated. So that gives us a figure of $30,000 to work with to go find a person, a 1,500 square foot home to live in. And I know I spent 3 weeks and talked to 15 to 20 realtors, especially using local realtors. I think the lady in Miss Bear, right by downtown, finally found something that would meet our criteria of what we thought we could spend and be in line with the precedent set 2.5 years ago.
Mr. Clewett.
Yes, sir. I guess this is a question for both you guys. I'm just so overwhelmed always about land acquisition, you know, and it's so how much are we buying, I guess, and you know, because we want to get this for safety of the resident. I understand that. How much land are we buying, and what are we going to do with the land? Are we going to resell that land to one of the neighbors for a pasture or something?
Well,
I mean, or more.
Sure. This particular tract is actually a fairly large tract, 4/10 of an acre. A house and 4/10 of an acre is what we'd be acquiring. It would belong to the parish upon approval of this process. Now, the parish can do a couple of things. We can actually auction the house off to somebody that goes in and says, I know where the right-of-way line is and I'm okay with that, and I buy the house. This lady, she had more land and we moved the line to the house, so she was not a willing participant in the movement of the right-of-way. If you sell the house to somebody, they know what they got when they walk into it. But
I guess my question is, the person that we're buying a house from played the safety card, okay? You know, the road's too close to me.
Yeah.
You got to move me.
Yeah.
The person that's buying it's saying, all right, you know, so I can flick the cigarette out and hit a car from my porch. You know, I just, I don't know. I'm frustrated with that is the fact that what are we going to do with the house?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to, if it's not safe enough for somebody now, I'm not real favorable about selling it. And is the house on the ground? Can it be moved or what? You know, and I understand what you got to do to build a road, but
the best thing you could probably do is to sell a house, someone will move it, and then sell the land.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a movable item.
You'll recoup a certain percentage, probably 30,000, 40,000 of the actual money that's spent. I would estimate from reading the appraisal. You have certain criteria that some people are not bothered with. I mean, they'll live there and be comfortable. But when you have a lady with 25 grandkids First one
understand.
steps off the porch, we like we
I
were
understand.
the prior people. And she's entitled to her rights. It's going to have to be y'all
Yeah,
to decide.
let me let everybody know I have nothing wrong with us buying this house. It's just the parish acquiring another piece of land with the house, and what do we do with it? You know, can we sell it back to the neighbor for get rid of the house and sell the neighbor some more land?
One of the things that attractive about this is the fact that it is a large lot, 4/10 of an acre, so it does have some potential, I think, and clearly someone that would buy this property may say, what I can do is move my door to the other side of the house instead of having the door step off the steps onto the right-of-way. I may be able to relocate, modify the house a little bit, and all of a sudden it's a nice, livable home for someone who is aware of what they've purchased.
And I just guess, in conflict resolution, is that could we have offered to move the house further on or a different place on? I don't know. I don't know the house, so maybe speaking out of term, but
She, under her rights, she refused, saying that she wasn't going to live in a house that was picked up and moved and had damaged the rest of her life.
thank you, sir. That's all I want. Just trying to feel out the situation.
Again, I want to assure you that the process that was used to make this determination is strict in accords to the parish acquisition policy, which is the same as the Department of Transportation Relocation Assistance Program.
I have no doubt that policy was followed. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And it is in the budget.
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion that we pass this on.
Got a motion by Mr. Randall Kluwat, second by Mr. Chris Lohr to go ahead with the $160,000 buyout.
Okay.
Any discussion? Any objection? So moved.
Thank you. I have nothing more.
Got a motion to adjourn by Mr. Lohr, second by Mr. Kluwat. No objection, so move.